this raid. After you complete this guide, I will guarantee you that you guys will be 100% not only ready for the raid, but you will 100% be able to complete it when you're done watching this video. Not only am I going to give you tips and tricks, I'm also going to give you setups for your characters, weapons to use, best loadouts, and how to complete each encounter, even if you are a little bit under level. So this is the time that you guys get ready, get your note paper and pen out, and let's go ahead and get started on the ultimate guide on how to complete one of the most difficult raids in Destiny history. Now, before we dive into all the mechanics of the raid, one thing I would highly suggest is make sure your fire team has enough raid banners. The raid banners are going to be very crucial into you being able to complete this. If you don't know where to pick up some raid banners, go visit Petra in the Dreaming City. She will sell some raid banners. For those of you who might not know what the rally banner does, is when you rally the banner at the first encounter or at the encounters, when the encounter is about to start, it's going to give you all your primary, your secondary, your heavy ammo back. Plus, it'll also give you your super, because there is a lot of ad clearing that needs to be done. So make sure you guys have those ready. If you have that ready, the only thing you need to know is what power light level I want to recommend to start the raid. I would highly recommend you to be 540 plus. If you're 538, 539, you are going to struggle, but if you have good survivability, you should be able to do this. But if I had to put a number on the required light level for this encounter, I would definitely do 540. Alright guys, now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about this raid and its encounter. So in order for you to actually get to the first boss, you're going to need to do some sort of jumping puzzle. It's not that difficult and it's not that hard. You will go ahead and present yourself in the start of the raid. You're going to have the doors open up. Once the doors are completely open, you are going to notice that on the left hand side, there's going to be a wall that has a little kind of thing that's going to shift to the right. That's going to create a passageway. Once you see that, you're going to be able to jump in with your fire team and work your way towards the top. Now, once you reach all the way to the top, you're going to notice that you're going to be presented with a hallway of a crystal room inside a cave with a lot of purple stuff around it, or like purple diamonds or crystals. What you will need to do is look up, and once you look up, you're going to see a little platform. Jump to the top of that platform and then just hover over to the bridge part. Once you're in the bridge part, you're going to work your way, traverse your way around the cave until you're going to be presented to an area that has a little ledge that overlooks the first boss encounter. This is where you're going to be able to present your first banner that will allow you to get your super and will allow you to get your primary and heavy ammo. Now, before I go ahead and explain the boss encounter, I want to recommend a couple loadouts you should definitely bring to this encounter. Number one, as your primary, you're definitely going to want to have something that allows you to fire at a rapid rate. Preferably, these are the ones I would recommend. Hand cannon, pulse rifle, auto rifle. Those would be the main ones you want to make sure you have at least one of those. At the number 2 slot, you're definitely going to want to have a shotgun. I have 2 shotguns to recommend to you guys. Of course, the Ikalos shotgun, which you're able to get from EPs, or the new shotgun that you're able to get off drops, which is called the Badlander. Now, if you don't have any of these 2 shotguns, pick whatever shotgun you're able to get, because you're definitely going to need a shotgun. At the number 3 slot, I'm going to ask you to put an exotic, either 2 of the ones that I recommend. I favor one more than the other. If you have a Whisper, pop a Whisper, but the one I favor out of all of them is definitely the Sleeper. The reason why the Sleeper is much better than the Whisper is because this character, when you're shooting him, tends to flinch a lot, so landing crit shots might be a little bit difficult for the majority of you guys. So the Sleeper, what it does, it allows you to not only get that crit shot, but it lets you be a little bit more kind of not have the perfect aim to get that crit shot. So the Sleeper would be my number 1 priority. If I had to pick up any other weapon, definitely the Sleeper is a must for this encounter. Now that we got the weapons out of the way, let's talk about what subclasses or what type of classes are more viable for this type of encounter. The first class I want to recommend is a Warlock with a well. You're going to want to run this one and have one of these in your fire team, because it's going to be very helpful not only for DPS but also for you to be able to take some damage. If you could have 2, it's going to be really good. If you just have 1, then it's fine, but the more you have, the better it will be for this encounter. Maximum of 2 should be just fine. Now, if you're a Titan, there's 2 supers that are going to be very beneficial for you guys. One, of course, is a solar super that allows you to get melting point, because if you get the melting point hit on her, you will be able to constantly get more DPS. If you are not that confident with the melting point feature, then I would suggest a Sentinel Titan with the new super to shield off any sort of incoming damage or any incoming fire that's coming your way. Now, if you're a hunter, you're able to go either way. It all depends on what classes your fire team is running. Any super that's good for ad clearing, even Golden Gun is pretty good for DPSing her. It all just depends on your team and what loadout you guys have as far as classes are concerned. Now, if I had to pick an ideal class loadout, I would definitely go with, of course, 2 Warlocks, 2 Titans, and 2 Hunters. That would be the ideal way to go, because all the classes are pretty much viable on the supers they are running. That's definitely the way I would go. But if you guys are running all Titans, all Warlocks, all Hunters, you're just going to have to make sure you have enough clearing supers and enough DPS and healing supers to coincide and have a good synergy in your fire team. So now that we got all that out of the way, now it's time for us to talk about our first boss encounter, which is Kalli. Now, you're going to want to make sure you get familiarized with this area that you're going to be presented to. One thing I would recommend, if this is the first time you hop on the raid, you're definitely going to want to make sure you jump down, check what the area looks like, get a feel for it, because it's going to be very crucial that you know how to traverse throughout the different sets of areas and its different landscapes. Now that you're familiarized with this area, let's talk about what you will be doing in this encounter. You're going to notice that in this encounter, there's a big circle in the middle where the boss is standing. There's also a platform on the top in the shape of a circle, and you will notice that this platform top has symbols on the top. Now, if you're staring from where you spawn in, you're also going to notice that there's platforms that have 2 symbols above them. Now, we're going to split these platforms into 1, 2, and 3. Platform number 1 is the one that you're looking directly to that has the 2 set of symbols. Platform number 2 is going to be the one on your right hand side, and platform number 3 is going to be the one that's to your left hand side. You're going to want to make sure that you divide your fire team into groups of 2. So 2 Guardians go to platform 1, 2 Guardians go to platform number 2, and 2 Guardians go to platform number 3. Now, there's going to be a total of 3 different symbols in the encounter. I'm going to give you the correct call out so you guys can know exactly what to name these symbols. Not only is it going to be beneficial for this encounter, but also as you progress through this raid. So the first symbol, we're going to call it the infinity symbol, and that looks exactly like this. The second symbol we're going to be looking at is the number 8 symbol, which looks like this. And the third symbol that we're going to be looking is called the U symbol. Now, all of these symbols are in form of a snake, but we're giving you guys the reference of what to call them so everybody knows exactly what they're called in your fire team. Now that we've identified all the symbols, since we're divided into groups of 2s, we should have 3 groups. Each group should be standing on the platform above the symbols. Each team will need to identify their symbol. As you guys know, there is a total of 2 per team. So what you will need to do, if you notice on the outer side of the area, not in the middle center, but on the outer side, there is a total of 6 different plates with symbols on them. Now, this is going to be representing the symbols that each fire team is going to be able to go to. So, for example, if Team A, which is on platform number 1, is going to need to go verify the look at the symbols that are above their platform and see where that symbol is located in the outer platforms. Once you guys have identified where that symbol is located, you guys are going to go to that specific symbol. Of course, it's going to be 1 person per plate, so make sure you guys know exactly where those symbols are located. Sometimes they might be together, sometimes they might be spread out, so make sure you guys identify these symbols. Now, once you make it to the plate, do not stand on the plate. You're going to wait till everybody is in the correct position to be able to jump on these plates, because this is where the mechanics come in. Now that everybody's in position to jump on the plates, you're going to make a call out, say, let's jump on the plates. Once you jump on the plates, you are going to notice the following. You're going to notice that the plate is divided into 3 different areas, left, right, and middle. Now, one of these plates is not going to be pulsating and not going to be doing damage. 2 plates will be pulsating where you are at. you're going to want to make sure you stand on the plate that is not pulsating. Once you stand on that plate that is not pulsating, a couple of ads will start spawning. You're going to want to make sure you keep track of what plate is pulsating because it will cycle 3 times. The first one will pulsate. For example, let's say you stand on the right hand side, left and middle are going to be pulsating. For the second wave, left and right will be pulsating and the middle will be empty without a pulsate. You're going to want to make sure you move to the middle. And for the next one, you have the left and the middle pulsating again. You're going to want to make sure you stand on the right hand side. Once you completed 3 cycles of the pulse effect, you are going to notice that there's going to be a big blight that spawns in front of you. This is going to be a yellow bar knight that's going to require you to make sure you have enough DPS. So make sure you have your shotgun ready because this is where your shotgun will come in play. If you are having trouble killing your knight, it is more important for you to make a call out that you need help with the knight than for you to try to warrior and have the knight kill you. So make sure survivability is your number 1 priority. If you can't kill your knight, ask for help. If you could kill your knight, well then let's go. Now it's time to go on to the next stage, which is DPS. If everybody killed their knight, which is a total of 6 knights, it's 1 knight per plate, it is now time to head to the center and do DPS to Kalli. So everybody that killed their knight will head to the middle circle area and you will jump right down in the middle circle area. In the middle circle area, you're going to definitely want to be popping your Well of Radiance, which is going to be part of your Warlock. So he could go ahead and allow you to not only get DPS, but also absorb damage. This is where your Sleeper Simulant will come into play, your Whisper of the Worm. Shoot as much as you can, as you possibly can. You will notice she will do an animation of raising her hand. Once she raises her hand, in the doors that are in front of her, you're going to notice that there's going to be 6 doors that open up. You are going to then want to go and make sure you get one of those doors. One thing to note here is only one person can get one door. You could not have multiple people going into the door. It's one door for one person, or one person per door. Once everybody has entered into the doors, you then will be able to come back out. But this time, when you come back out, there's going to be enemies in the middle. Make sure you have your grenades. Make sure you throw anything that you can possibly in the middle. Disperse the ads, and you're back into doing DPS. You're going to need to do this a total of 3 times. So you have the first wave, doors open up. Second wave, DPS, doors open up. Third wave, DPS, doors open up. At the third run, if you do not kill her in one phase, you will then need to do the platform plating thing one more time. Hopefully by this time you have her half health and you only have to do this twice. If you can't get it down in 2 times, then you could definitely do it 3 times. It's the same thing. It just keeps recycling. You go ahead, get the plates, come back in the middle, DPS doors, DPS doors, DPS doors. Of course, callouts are going to be very important to getting this completed because knowing which door is taken and which door is available is going to be fundamental of you completing this encounter. Once you've completed this encounter, you're then ready to proceed to the next area where we are going to be able to get a secret chest and make sure we get a checkpoint to complete the following encounter. As soon as you kill Kalli, the doors will open up in front of you and you are going to work your way out of the doors. You're going to notice that to your right hand side there is a big bridge. You're going to want to make sure you head towards that bridge, and this is where parkour comes into play. Parkour your way across the bridge. Before you get to the other exit section of the bridge, you'll notice that towards the bottom there is sort of like a rock structure. What you will need to do is head towards the rock structure and you're going to see like a little ledge sticking out. Hover over or jump towards that rock structure, land at it, and this is where the hidden chest will spawn. After you collect the chest, which could either be grant you an exotic or a raid weapon, is pick up the chest, go to the broken bridge part, which will be right in front of you. You're going to make sure you jump into a blight, and that blight will transfer you to the brand new area where your encounter will take place. A little bit more parkour and you're already there. You're going to notice you'll get to a place where you can set up the rally point, and now you have the checkpoint to kill the next boss. Right now, you guys should feel very proud of yourselves because you made it this far, but it's not over, guys. This is just encounter number 2. Shuro Chi is going to go down if you guys follow these simple tips and instructions. So here we go, guys. If you are a hunter, make sure you have a Night Stalker that will be able to tether, and hopefully he has the Orpheus rigs upgraded, because this is going to be one of the most needed supers in this encounter. It's going to make your life a lot easier, not only for you, the Night Stalker, but for everybody else in your fire team. You're also going to want to make sure you have any sort of super that clears ads. If you only have one Warlock in your fire team, he's definitely going to have to run the well. If you have multiple Warlocks, you could get away with one well and a clearing super. Everybody else should be running clear supers. If you are a hunter, we only kind of just need one Night Stalker with the Orpheus rigs, and that's going to make this encounter super easy, not only for you, but for everybody else. Now, this encounter specifically is very simple. The only problem with this encounter is that not only are you timed, but there are a bunch of ads that spawn here. You're going to want to make sure when the doors open, you clear them out with your roaming supers, and also tether to create those additional orbs so you guys can have almost unlimited amounts of super. You're not going to notice that the problem is not so much the ad clearing, but the problem is knowing the mechanics. And this is where it's going to be important, because you are going to want to make sure you designate 3 people to be in charge of the crystals. So now the question you have is, Laser, what do you mean to be in charge of the crystals? Okay, so here it is, guys. When you go in there and you clear the ads, there is going to be, Shuro. Shiro's going to be right there in front of you, but she's going to be in a platform. And if you notice to the side of her, there's going to be little plates that have crystals on them. Now, there's a total of 3 crystals. The people who are designated to these 3 crystals are going to need to be quick, because these platforms that they're going to be standing on shooting these crystals are going to damage them. So they're going to have to coordinate and say, everybody ready? Let's jump and shoot. Remember, you have to pick which direction you're going to be shooting to. So my best suggestion is everybody make sure they're shooting right side, so that way you don't have to worry about who's shooting who, because you're going to want to make sure you form a triangle when you're shooting each other. Now, the other 3 people who are not on crystal duty, what they're going to be doing is, of course, clearing out ads, plus getting ready to DPS Shuro. But one thing I want to let you guys know is, when you're clearing ads, there's going to be one specific knight that's going to be a yellow bar. When you kill this knight, he's going to drop a relic. Now, this relic is very useful because it will allow you to extend the time that you're damaging her. For example, if you're not able to get one of her bars done, then you could extend this when she's about to go into her, like when she raises her arm. If you use the relic, you're able to extend or stun her, so she won't do that kind of like wipe effect. Now, keep in mind, if you are holding the relic for more than times 10, you will die, so you got to keep a constant eye on that. If you get this down to a science, you're not going to need the relic that much, but it's always good to know that you have it there in case you need a little bit of an extra time. So once everybody has cleared all the ads and it's time to jump on crystal duty, you guys are going to go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and jump on the crystals. You're going to shoot. Everybody's going to shoot to the right hand side of them, and they're going to form the triangle. Once the triangle has been formed, you're going to notice that there's going to be a swirly thing that shows in front of Shuro. And now it's time to drop the DPS. Warlocks are going to drop their well, and you are going to start shooting her. Preferably, the weapons that shine on this encounter are, of course, Sleeper Simulate, the EP Shotgun, and the Whisper of the Worm. Primarily, I would say you would do Sleeper, then the Shotgun. These are very effective weapons to use because you will be able to knock her bar fairly soon. As you notice on the bottom of her health, she has a total of 6 little bars, so you're going to need to do this 6 times. It's the same thing. You will have to clear out the ads, make sure you jump on the crystals, and get ready for DPS phase. Now, after the second bar that you knock down, then you will need to go into forming the puzzle. And this is where things get a little bit hectic and tricky, because you are going to want to make sure you have 4 people designated to jump on the puzzle. Now, in order for you to know how to do the puzzle, I'm going to give you guys the most effective way to do it. After the second time that you stun Shuro, you're going to want to make sure you head into the room looking to the left. Make sure you designate 4 people. Tell one person you are number 1, tell the other person you're number 2, you're number 3, and you're number 4. The first person will go into the room, look to the left hand side, and they are going to notice that there is a symbol on the wall. Now, this symbol is going to be missing a total of 4 different blocks, or 4 missing pieces. You are going to need to fill in these 4 pieces with the plates that are in the middle of the room. So my suggestion is to make sure you keep track of these rows. So we're going to call the front row that's in front of the symbol front. We're going to call the middle one middle, and we're going to call the one in the back back. Every single time that you rotate from different symbols, the plate that's in front of the symbol is always going to be the front plate. This is going to make it easier for you guys and easier for your fire team to know exactly what you're calling out. So player number 1 would do the following call out. If he goes into the room, he will say, I am grabbing front middle plate if the middle plate is missing. If he goes in and the left hand side of the front is missing, he would say, I am grabbing front left piece. So that's the way you do the callouts. The other players will fill in and say, I am grabbing middle, I am grabbing middle left, I am grabbing back left, back right, depending on which piece is missing. Like I said, you're going to want to have 4 people who are designated specifically just on jumping on these pieces. Now, you as a player, if you are part of the people who are filling in the pieces, you're going to want to keep track of what piece you stepped on, because you could not step on multiple pieces. So for example, if the first time I jump in there, I step in the middle plate, and then it rotates to the second symbol, and again that middle plate is missing and I jump on top of that, it's not going to allow me to actually fill in the piece, because I won't be able to step on the same platform multiple times. So you as a jumper have to keep close track on which one you've already stepped. You're going to need to do this a total of 3 times. So when you go into the room, you look left, you will see the symbol. You proceed to look right, you will see the other symbol. You proceed to look another right, you will move to another symbol, and you're going to need to do a total of 3 symbols. Of course, this is all timed. If you are not on jumping platform duty, your job is to help everybody to clear out ads, because the ads are a bit of a pain in this room. Not only can you get pushed out of your platform, but you could die, and if you die, it will mess up the puzzle. So team coordination and definitely team communication is going to be key to actually getting this completed. One tip I want to give you that it's currently working right now, but might not be working in the future, is if you've done the Nightfall and you've done the 100k challenge and you equip that emblem, you will not be able to take damage from that platform that you're going to be standing up to fill in that piece. This makes life a little bit easier, so it's a good helpful tip to have now, but I would suggest make sure you run this without this handicap, because you don't never know if it's going to get patched and it will no longer work in the long run. So things seem to get a little bit more chaotic as you proceed, because you are going to go with one face of the puzzle. Once you get her health and you knock another set of 2 bars, you're going to proceed to forming another puzzle. Once again, it's the same thing, guys. You're going to walk into the room, look to the left, look for the pieces that are missing within the puzzle in the front. Player number 1 is going to call the piece he's stepping on. Player number 2 will call it. Player 3 and 4, you will then form the symbol. The symbol will activate. You look to your right. You're going to notice that once again you got to form the symbol. Make sure you're clearing out ads. Fill in the symbol, and once that symbol has been completed, you are then going to proceed to the following symbol. Once you complete the second symbol, you will then go to the third symbol and complete the third symbol. As soon as the third symbol has been completely done and you have filled in every single piece, you are then going to proceed to do the following. You are going to notice that there's going to be some sort of things that tumble down, like some little platforms that are going to show on the, like, you know, once you complete it, those you're going to want to jump on there and get this done. Now, on the third part of this encounter, which is the third cycle of this encounter, things get really hectic when you get up there, because first you got just kind of like Thrall coming out, then you had like Knights, a little bit of Knights coming out, and on the third wave, you get a whole sort of assortment of things that are coming out. One thing I want to make sure you keep a close eye on is to make sure you have your super. For example, I am a Warlock running well. My number 1 priority in this encounter is not so much clearing out ads, it's just making sure that I have my super. The reason why I need to have my super is because I want to make sure I have it for DPS phase. If you have to hang back and pick up orbs, you're going to want to make sure you have your super ready to go for the people who have the roaming supers and who are ready to DPS. Once again, you will see Shuro. You're going to go ahead, jump to the top, knock her shield down, take out that extra bar. Now, the last part gets really hectic and really interesting. There's going to be a ton of ads. You're going to have Acolytes. You're going to have Thrall. You're going to have the eyes that shoot you. You're going to have Knights. You're going to have Ogres. It just gets really hectic. You're going to want to make sure you're paying close attention to the timer, because what tends to happen is there gets to a point where you're going to have ad spawning, and if you don't have time to kill out the ads, your main priority or your main focal point should be killing Shuro. Don't focus too much on the ads, but focus primarily on killing her. You're going to notice this because what's going to happen is you're going to have a couple knights that spawn behind you as you progress further and further. Once these knights spawn, you know that it's time to go damage her. Now remember, this is where it's going to be helpful if you killed that yellow bar knight and you're running a little bit behind. If you have that relic is going to help you extend the time. Now luckily for us, like my team does not need, we don't really use the relic. But if you guys feel that you need to use the relic, it's a good tip to have in your back arsenal to make sure you guys are ready to go. So here we are, guys, at the last damage phase of Shuro. All you got to do is get ready with your shotgun, get ready with your sleeper, finish her off, and there you guys have it, and you completed boss number 2. Now it's onward to boss number 3, and if you guys keep following these instructions, you're going to be able to take him out super duper easy. But before we get to the final boss, we're going to need to collect the next hidden chest, which is located right here. So after you complete Shuro, jump on down and head towards the bottom section of the room. You're going to want to go all the way to the bottom, and you are going to notice that once you get all the way to the bottom, there's going to be a hallway that leads up to a tree right in the center. What you will need to do is climb this tree to get to the top portion of the antrim, or the top portion of the stadium, or whatever you want to call this room, or the hallway. Just keep climbing the tree, work your way up, and you're going to notice that there's going to be a ledge to your left and to your right. You're going to want to make sure you jump on the ledge and get on top of the platform. Once you're inside the platform, there's going to be a room that's lit up purple. Jump into that room and head on straight. Follow the same path that I'm following, because this is the way you're going to be able to get the chest. Instead of going straight, you're going to make a left towards the outskirts of the area. You're going to notice a lot of foresty areas, a lot of trees out there. But if you look to the right hand side, you're going to notice a little pathway and a tree sticking out. What you will need to do is jump on top of this tree, and depending what class you're using, either Titan, Hunter, or Warlock, you're going to want to hover around and notice that there is another tree that you can jump on top that's going to give you a little bit of leeway. Jump around that tree and jump on top of the platform right there. Keep moving your way around, and there will be another tree. Climb that tree, and if you notice across from this tree, there is going to be a chest that spawns across of this platform. So make sure you guys do this in a timely fashion, especially if you're doing this with a fire team. You're going to want to make sure that you're not pushing people left and right or knocking them off, because they're going to have to redo this. So once you located that, get on the tree, jump on top of the platform, jump on over, and collect the second hidden chest. Of course, we're still looking for the third hidden chest, but as soon as I am able to find it, I will let you guys know as soon as possible. There's a lot of secrets in this raid, so we're trying to discover them one by one. Once you collected the chest, turn on back and head on over to this area right here, and you are going to notice that there's going to be something interesting. And what is that interesting thing that we're going to be talking about? That is that there is a blight right in front of you, and you're going to want to make sure you jump into this blight. But it doesn't stop there, because this is where things get a little bit chaotic, because we go from the regular foresty world into a taken sphere that has a interesting jumping puzzle. Now, I've seen a lot of teams get stuck in this jumping puzzle because it is a bit tricky, and it does play like with your visibility a little bit, because some things look like they have a lot of space to land on, or they just look tricky. And you also have the rotating platforms, so you could take your time, take it slow. Make sure you're timing your jumps, because you don't want to start this over and over and kind of hold your team back. Just make sure you're ready to rock and roll. You follow the path that I'm taking, and you guys shouldn't have any problems completing this jumping puzzle. The biggest problem is waiting for the pieces to rotate, because they do rotate a little bit slowly. But once you get past the 2 rotating pieces, you are good to go and ready to rock and roll into the next phase. Now here you guys are. We're waiting once again for the rotating piece to happen right here. Jump on the rotating piece and keep on going forward. There's going to be one more rotating piece. We're going to jump towards that piece, and the last piece we're going to be jumping to is not rotating. It's just like a little platform. This is a tricky one because the platform is above you. Once you locate the above platform, you're going to keep going straight until you find the last blight at the end. jump into that blight, and boom bada bing, you have made it to the third boss encounter. A few tips for this boss encounter before we get started is make sure you guys have, of course, once again, the warlock that drops the well, and number 2, a titan that has the shield or the new super that allows him to put up a shield in front of you. These are going to be very fundamental and make your life a lot easier, because this encounter, it's really easy. It's just a matter of team coordination. You're going to want to split your team in half and divide yourselves into groups of 3. 3 people will go left, 3 people will go right. Assign 1 person to pick up the front blight that will start the encounter. When he picks up that blight is going to give him taken strength. Now, the taken strength is only allowed to be taken up to 2, so you can only have a total of 2. What this means is that the left-hand side and the right-hand side, as soon as the encounter gets started, there's going to be 2 blights that spawn on each side. Of course, the people who are on the right side is going to designate 1 person to pick up those 2 blights. The people on the left-hand side will designate 1 person to pick up those 2 blights. After that person picks up the 2 blights, they can no longer pick up blights. What then is going to happen is when these 2 blights have been picked up, you're going to notice that there is going to be an enemy that spawns that is called the Eye of the Raven. It is a yellow bar knight that needs to be killed super duper quickly. Once that knight has been killed, he is then going to drop an orb. Now, the person who doesn't have or hasn't collected any blights or doesn't have the taken strength is then going to have to pick up this orb. What this orb allows this person to do is allows them to cleanse people. So the people who have been picking up the stacks of taken are going to be needing cleansing. That could be 1 person on the left, or it could be the 1 person on the right. The person who has the snare is going to get taken. When they get taken, you're going to see a tornado that forms in this person's area. Now, callouts are very important because people are going to have to say, I am taken. So the person that picked up that orb or that orb to cleanse could go to the person that was taken and cleanse the person. Now, in order for you to cleanse the person, you click your grenade button and that will cleanse the person. Now, one thing that you have to remember is as soon as you cleanse the person, as soon as that person is cleansed, it's going to go ahead and transfer these stack snares to that guardian that cleansed. So think about it like if you're playing tag. I'm going to try to simplify this to make it easy. The first 1 person will grab both blights. That's going to make him taken. The other person is going to then look for the knight, kill the knight. Once the knight is killed, he's going to pick up the orb, take that orb to the person who got taken. He's going to cleanse him. Once he cleanses him, it's like if he tagged him, that person is going to give the person who cleansed him taken, and the person who got cleansed is then going to go have to look for the knight again, get the orb, and the cycle repeats. Now, you got to make sure you're keeping an eye on the bottom left-hand side because you could only stack this up to 10. If you get past the 10 stack, you are then going to wipe as a team. So you want to make sure you're keeping a close eye. As this is happening, though, Morgoth's strength is actually getting stronger. If his strength reaches 100, it will automatically wipe the entire team. So you're going to want to make sure you're keeping track of this. If you're able to do this process of playing tag really fast, you'll be able to probably one-face him. But if for some reason you can't one-face him, then you're going to have to play tag once again. That's just what I call the guys playing tag. So once you guys get to a high stack, no higher than 10, the person that picked up the first orb at the beginning who started the encounter, this person is going to pick up the last orb. Now, the orb is going to spawn once again in front of Morgeth. Now, this is what's going to allow you to start the DPS phase. So, if for some reason someone sees the blight spawning, he has to call out and say middle blight has spawned. That makes sure that everybody who is in the room will go to the back area and get ready for DPS. The person who was able to pick up the first blight at the beginning of the game to start the encounter will then go ahead and pick up the last one, and this will start the DPS phase. Now as the encounter progresses, you're going to notice that his strength is growing. When his strength hits 80 or 90, this is going to be crucial for you guys to extend this if you guys aren't able to one-phase him. If for some reason you are not able to one-phase him, then you're going to want to designate 1 person to be in charge of stunning him. The way you stun him is super easy, guys. As you guys recall, when you were killing the knight that was dropping the little orb, someone's going to have to go and pick up that orb, and as soon as his strength gets into 90 or 80, that person will then have to go into Morgeth, kind of jump on top of him or go towards him and detonate that orb to avoid him wiping you. So that is how you guys get into like a second round in case you guys weren't able to get it completed. Hopefully you guys don't need to do this and you guys are able to one face him. Now, one thing I do want to let you guys know is when you are DPSing him, it gets to a point that he gets really angry and he starts throwing little blights at you. Now these little blights actually hurt a lot, and this is why you're going to want to have the Titan Shield. The Titan Shield is able to block all these blights. If for some reason you do not have a Titan Shield, you're going to need to designate one person with an auto rifle to be able to clear out all these blights that are being thrown at you. But if you have a Titan with that shield, you're going to have a cakewalk with this one, because all you got to do is focus on DPS and have that Titan block all the orbs that are coming towards you. Alright guys, now you guys should be super proud of yourselves. You killed 3 bosses. Now it's time to go to one of the most interesting areas in Fortnite, and that is the Vault. The Vault is really interesting, and the dynamic that it portrays is actually pretty interesting. I'm going to explain everything on the way it works, what you will need to know, and how to do it. So when you guys get to the Vault, just follow this pathway to actually get there. There's actually a lot of places to explore, so if you want to explore, you're running the raid team and want to make sure you're trying to find every nook and cranny of the Dreaming City, now is the time to explore, because getting to the Vault has a lot of wide areas to actually adventure to and find out if there's any hidden chests or not. If something pops up, if there's a hidden chest, I will let you guys know. So talking about the Vault, guys, the Vault is really interesting, but before you guys get into the Vault, you are going to want to make sure you assign 3 people who are going to be in charge of plate duty. Now these people are going to be primarily in charge of plate duty. The other 3 remaining people, they will be in charge of not only clearing out ads, but protecting the people who are on the plates. So what you will need to do is the following. Take the lift up and you will be presented to the Vault area. Now the Vault area has a lot of mechanics, and one thing I want to suggest to you guys, if you guys get to the Vault, you guys are going to want to make sure before you even start the encounter that you get familiar with the area. The areas are very simple to understand, and they are divided into 3 sections. If you look at the outside of the Vault that's surrounding it, there's going to be a section that looks like a jungle, like there's a lot of plants, there's a lot of leaves, a grassy area. I call that area jungle. There's going to be another section that has a big rock in the middle. I call that section rocks. And there's going to be another section that has a bunch of steps. I call that section steps. You're going to want to make sure you let your fire team know what these are called, because it's going to be very important when we progress through this kind of encounter. Now remember when I told you that you wanted to divide yourselves into 3 groups, 3 people doing plates, 3 people doing ad duty. Now the 3 people who are doing plates are going to notice that in front of the sphere that's in the middle section, there's going to be a set of 3 plates. All these plates are in front of these 3 sections: the jungle, the rocks, and the steps. Once the 3 people who are assigned to stepping on the plates hop on the steps, there's going to be a couple things that happen. Number 1, ads are going to start spawning, so people who are in charge of ad duty are going to start needing to clear out ads. And number 2, the people who step on the plates are going to notice that there's going to be a set of 3 symbols that appear on their screen. Now to make this easier, you should divide this in groups of 1, 2, and 3. So plate number 1 will definitely be steps, plate number 2 will be jungle, plate number 3 will be rocks. This is going to make it easier because you're going to want to make sure that plate number 1 calls out first, and then plate number 2, and then plate number 3. Now that everybody has been assigned to a specific area and a specific role, the people who are assigned to jump on the plate will then go ahead and proceed to get on the plates. When they get on the plates, they're going to notice that there are 3 symbols that appear on their screen. Remember how we divided ourselves into group 1, 2, and 3? Well, the first person that's going to be calling out, which is the person on the steps, will call out their middle symbol. Section number 2 and section number 3, jungle and rocks, are going to see if that symbol appears on their screen either to the left or either to the right. So for example purposes, let's take a look at this image, and let's say I call a dragon with a spear facing left. Now a person who is either on the step side or either on the rock side is going to say, look at their screen and see if this symbol appears on their left hand side or their right hand side. If my symbol appears on the left hand side of the screen, then that means that the plate needs a penumbra buff. Now there is two sorts of buffs. There is a penumbra and there is an entumbra buff. Now the way you're able to determine which buff is needed is if the symbol is to the left hand side, it will always be penumbra. If the symbol is to the right hand side, it will always be a entumbra buff. The best way to simplify this so it can stay on your memory is if it's on the left hand side, if it's a LP, left penumbra. If it's on the right hand side, it is RA, right entumbra. So that way you guys know exactly where it goes. PL, RA, PL, RA. So left penumbra, right entumbra. It's going to be very crucial that you remember this, because remember there's a total of 3 callouts. Plate 1 will make a callout of their middle symbol. Plate 2 will make a callout of their middle symbol. Plate 3 will make a callout of their middle symbol, and everybody that's on each plate will have to find out where that duplicate is, if it's on the left or if it's on the right, and you're going to need to know exactly which buff is needed. Now, once that you have determined which buff is needed for which individual plate, it is now time for us to get the buff. And you're probably wondering, Laser, how do we get the buff? Well, once the plates have been once the callouts have been made, you're going to notice that the room is going to start rotating. And the 2 rooms, there's going to be a total of 2 rooms that are going to get close with a taken wall. These rooms are not going to be able to be entered, but there is going to be 1 room that's going to be allowed to be entered. The person who was assigned for that specific plate will have to go into this room, clear out the ads, and there is going to be a yellow bar knight that spawns that needs to be taken out. The people who are out on the outside are able to shoot this knight as well and help the person out, but they are not allowed to go into the room, because what happens is once that knight is dead, the room will automatically close and the person that's trapped inside will no longer be able to come out. Now the person who was in charge of killing the knight will pick up the orb, and once that orb is picked up, he will notice that on the bottom left hand side of his screen, it's going to say that he has the buff either entumbra or penumbra buff. That is when he makes a call out, I have A, or I have P, or I have pen, or I have ants, whatever abbreviation you want to use for penumbra or penumbra, you're able to pick. But I usually just go with P and A. I have P, I have A. Now the people who are outside are going to tell him which way he's going to be able to run out, because remember, as soon as he killed that knight, the wall sealed. There's going to be another wall or another room, either the stairs or the rock side, that's going to be available to be able to exit. So the person is, you're going to have to tell the person, go to the left hand side, go to the right, exit through the right, exit through the left. This person will then exit to the left hand side or the right hand side, depending which side is open, and based on the buff that he has, he's going to have to cleanse the specific plate that he needs that specific cleansing. So for example, if you guys saw my picture before, I was standing in the jungle side. So let's say my jungle side needed the penumbra buff. If that person gets the penumbra buff, he's then going to have to go to my plate and cleanse that plate. If he has the entumbra buff, he is then going to have to go to a plate that needs the entumbra buff to be able to get it cleansed. You're going to need to do this a total of 3 times. Now, don't think by any means that the people who are outside not collecting the buff have nothing to do, because once you kill that knight, there is going to be another knight that spawns, and it's going to be coming charging at the people outside, trying to stop you from unlocking the vault. He is going to be, his main purpose is going to be to slam a sword on one of the plates and lock you out and wipe you completely. Your team who is on the outside is going to be in charge of taking this knight before he's able to slam his sword. This is where cool supers or cool weapons actually come in handy. The Warlock super, the new Void one, kind of pushes him back, not allowing him from slamming. And if you have really good power guys, really good weapons, you should be able to kill the knight without a problem. Now you must be saying, it's only one knight, we got this, we could team up on him. Well guys, remember, since you have to do this a total of 3 times, the first time the first person that goes in, 1 knight spawns. The second time a person goes in, 2 knights spawn. The third time, 3 knights spawn. So everybody's going to have to be on their tippy toes, in charge of their platforms or in charge of their plates, to make sure that knight is not taking or closing the vault without permission. After you stopped 3 waves of this, you're then going to have to rinse and repeat and do the process again. People who are in charge of the plates are going to have to hop on their plates, read their symbols, find out what buff is needed for that specific plate. After they find out what buff is needed, go into the room, collect the orb. People outside need to be ready because there's going to be a knight coming out, and once again repeat the process. And luckily, if you guys do this correctly for a total of 3 times, you are then able to complete the vault. The vault becomes very simple once you understand its core mechanics. If you know how to identify which buff is needed for what specific plate, penumbra or atumbra, then everything becomes pretty smooth. The only problem is that this encounter is actually timed, so you're definitely going to want to go super duper fast for this. And the light I recommend for actually completing this one is, I wouldn't recommend if you are really under leveled like 545 to go in here. I would definitely recommend at least in the 550s, 555s, because you're going to be hindering your enemy and not being able to kill the knight if you go under leveled. If you guys complete this successfully, you guys have been able to unlock the vault and proceed to the last final boss, the Riven. So now it's time to make our way to the dungeon of Riven. So in order for us to do that, once we complete the encounter, right next to the jungle side, there's going to be a door that will open up. You're going to then proceed to the left hand side of this doorway and just keep working your way. Now, the area you're going to go through looks very similar to a museum or a mausoleum. That's the most resemblance that I have. It's a big, long hallway that will take you to a big, bright crystal. Work your way to the crystal, make a right, and then you will be presented with another area that looks very interesting. You gotta want to make sure you keep this kind of route in your mind, because you're gonna need to exit this area in a later time when you have the heart. But I'll give you guys the complete guide looking from the other way, looking out, so you guys can know exactly how to get this completed. Once you get to this area, you'll notice that there's a rally barricade. Once you see the rally barricade, you have gotten the checkpoint for Riven, and now let's talk about how we're gonna be able to defeat him. Alright guys, so we finally made it to the last boss, but in order for us to kill him completely, there's going to be 2 phases to this boss. I'm going to explain the mechanics to you guys, so when you guys are seeing this visually, you'll understand what we're doing, and I'm going to give you guys the easiest way to get this completed. Once again, you are going to want to make sure you assign teams for various options. You're going to want to make sure you split yourselves up into teams of 3. 3 people will go left, 3 people will go right. If you notice, when you enter this room, there's going to be 3 plates to the left and 3 plates to the right. These 2 people, or these 2 groups that are assigned, will hop on these plates. Once everybody, all 6 hop on the plates, you will then get brought down, and one will go through the left hand side door and one team will go through the right hand side door. Both of the rooms are very similar in mechanics, and I'm going to explain what's going to happen. When you go to the room, there's going to be snipers on the top left-hand side, snipers on the right-hand side. These are the first ads you're going to want to clear when you go into the room. The next are pretty much scions that just spawn randomly, throughout the encounter through blights. Now, there's a couple things you're going to have to make sure you're aware of when you are in these rooms. First and foremost, you're going to want to make sure you know if Riven is on your side or if Riven is on the other side of the team. Depending on where Riven spawns, it's going to determine what mechanics you will need to do as a team. If Riven spawns on your side, you are then going to have to damage Riven to make sure that his face opens up. Now, there's 2 different sets of forms of attacks that Riven does. Depending on which attack he does, he is going to have a different crit shot. So, for example, if he does his tentacles, which he comes out of the portal with his tentacles out, you want to make sure that someone goes and baits the tentacle so he could kind of, strike him. And once he strikes him, jump out of the way, and everybody in the team has to shoot the tentacle. Now one thing I'm going to recommend, when his tentacle is going down, make sure you jump, because if you're just laying flat on the floor, he's going to bump you up into the air and kind of warp you, and you might die if you hit the roof. So make sure you keep that in mind. If he does the tentacle, jump and then shoot, or jump and then to make sure you don't get bumped. Now, the other attack he has, which is the most simpler one, is he kind of throws like this, taking stuff out of his mouth, kind of like breathing fire. What you need to do in this area is just make sure you're under cover, have him throw the the kind of the fire flame at you, and then DPS him when his mouth turns yellow or orange. And those are the 2 ways you're able to damage him. Now, if your team did enough damage, he is then, like I said, going to open up his face and expose his eyes. Now, his eyes, when he gets them exposed, he is going to have two sets of eyes that are glowing. Now these eyes are going to be important because you are going to want to make sure you have the proper callouts and that your team knows what you're calling out, because when Riven goes back to them, they will go ahead and need to shoot the eyes. Now before I break down the proper callouts for the eyes, I do want to let you guys know what's happening on the other side, in case you are wondering, well, what happens if Riven's not on my side? What's going on in my area? So once again, you have the same situation again, where it is that Riven spawns on the opposite team, but you're on the opposite way. The difference is going to be that Riven is not going to spawn there, but one thing is going to spawn there that doesn't spawn on the other side, and that is a taken knight. Now this knight is a yellow bar, and I'm going to give you one of the most helpful tips I could possibly give you, because I've seen multiple people run this. I've run a couple people with LFG. I've done all sorts of different raids, and some people do it very differently, but I'm going to give you the best way to do it. So basically the way it works is you want to make sure you take down your captain before Riven shows up, or as soon as he's about to show up. The reason why is because he's going to drop a orb. Now when he drops this orb is allows you to pick it up and cleanse any of the symbols that will show up on your plate. Now what I've seen multiple people do is they kill the knight really fast, they go ahead and pick up the orb, and Riven spawns on them and wipes the person out. My suggestion is make sure you're coordinating with your team. When Riven's on their side, they're like, okay, I'm damaging him, he's going over to you guys. That way you know when they say he's going over to you guys, that is when you bring down the knight. You wait for Riven to show up on your side, you do the DPS phase, shoot the eyes that you have to shoot, and then pick up the orb. Now let's talk about the eyes before we progress into the other area on the proper callouts for the other side that has the orb on the knight. Alright, so a lot of people have different callouts for the eyes. Different LFG groups have it differently. They read from top to bottom. They read it from bottom to top. They read it from left to right. I'm going to give you the way I do it and the way I probably would recommend you do it, because I feel that not only does it simplify things, but it also makes it easier for new people who are joining in. So we are going to divide his face into two. We're going to divide it into left hand, and we're going to divide it into the right hand side. We are going to be reading the numbers on the left hand side from left to right. So starting with the first eye that spawns next to his ear, or the like the thing that looks like his ear, is going to be number 1. If you look towards the bottom, kind of by his teeth, that is going to be number 2. If you look at the middle one, that is going to be number 3. The top one will be number 4, and the one closest to his nostril will be number 5. Now on the right hand side, we are going to read the numbers once again from right to left. So starting with the one furthest to the right hand side, that's going to be number 1. If you look above the 1, that's going to be number 2. If you look above the 2, that's going to be 3. If you look underneath the 3, that's going to be number 4. The one closest to his nostrils will be number 5. Basically, this one's a lot easier to remember because it's very similar. Looks like a pyramid going up and down. So there you guys have it. Those are the proper callouts. So how do you exactly make this callouts? For example, if Riven spawns on my side and his left eye is glowing, the one closest to the ear, and his top eye is glowing, the one on the right hand side, my callout will be L1 R3. So that means when Riven goes back into the other side, my teammates know they're going to DPS him in the mouth as much as they can. When he closes the mouth, his eyes will start glowing, and that is when my teammate will shoot the left 1 and the right number 3. So L1 and L3. Once he cancels out those eyes, then he will go in a stun phase, and you're going to have to repeat this process once again. If you do this correctly 2 times, you get to stun him twice. You are then going to get access to a lift that spawns behind you. You are then going to be teleported to that rift, and you are going to do the same thing over again. The only difference is that you won't know where Riven has spawned, so you have to be ready. If Riven spawns on your side, you have to DPS him really quick so you can get his mouth to open up or his face to open up so you can see the eyes and give the proper call out to your other teammates, or else you are going to wipe. So make sure you do this as quickly as you can if Riven is on your side. Of course, the other team will have to deal with something different, which is a taken knight, bringing him down and getting that completed. Now let's talk about the symbol callouts, because you're going to want to know what symbols to call out and how to call them out. Now I will have a video detailing the proper callouts and what to call these symbols in a video, so make sure you guys click on the description down below so you guys can see what the proper callouts are for each individual symbol. This has got to be one of the most confusing things that I've seen in a game, People call things differently. They call dragons birds. They call birds dragons. They call them hawks. They call them eagles. So it's a lot of assortment of the way people are making callouts. So I'm going to have a video with the proper callouts so you could watch that video and know exactly how to call it out. I would have added it in this video, but I didn't want to extend it any longer than what it's going. So you can watch that video to know the proper callouts. Now, how exactly is it that you do these symbols? Well, this is what's going to happen. One of the teams that does not have Raven is going to kill that knight, like we said. When the teammate goes and picks up the orb that the knight dropped, he is going to be able to turn around and look forward towards the exit, and he is going to see a column that has a bunch of symbols. This column is going to have all of these same symbols. He is then going to call out the symbols, and one person is going to have to jump into the middle section, kind of like a TV area where you're viewing things, and all these symbols are going to display in front of him. Once these symbols display in front of him, he is then going to have to identify and guide his teammate to the proper symbol. This is where things get a little bit hairy, because the biggest issue is the person that's viewing the symbols is always going to make the call out from what he's viewing. The person who has the orb that has to cleanse the symbol is going to be looking at onwards. So if I say left, he might go right. If I say right, he might go left. So the best way to simplify is always go to the section that the person that making the callouts will call out. So what I would suggest is clear out the ads, face backwards, or put your back against the person that's viewing the thing, so you're viewing in the same direction. If he says left, you will go left. If he says right, you will go right. Now, one of the biggest issues that I've had with this one is that there is a bunch of symbols on the left-hand side steps, on the right-hand sub steps, on the top, on the middle. So I am going to give you guys the proper callouts and how to simplify this and make it easy in your team. So we are going to divide these steps in certain areas. Of course, we have the left-hand side steps, we have the right-hand side steps, and we have the farther to the right-hand side steps. We also have the top portion, which I like to call balcony or top, and we have the middle area, which I call circle because it's a circle. Now, the proper callouts for this are the following. If these symbols spawn on the left-hand side and it's the top symbol on top of the stairs, the proper callout will be left steps top. So that way the person knows that it's on the top portion of that step side. If the symbol spawns in the middle, it's going to be left steps middle, and then you're going to have to make a call out right symbol or left symbol. If it's on the bottom step, then there's usually only one symbol, so all you would have to say is left bottom steps. Left bottom steps, that person will be able to go there. Now, if the symbol is on top, you will say balcony left, balcony right, because there's only two symbols that spawn there. If the steps shows up a symbol and it's to the right hand side, you would say right steps top if the symbol's on top. If you see if the symbol's in the middle, then you would say right steps middle. If the symbol is to the far end of the right hand side, you would say right steps furthest right. That way the person knows where that symbol is located. If the symbol spawn in the middle, as you guys know, it spawns in a triangle, so there's two in the front, and there's one in the front and two in the back. You would say circle left, that means it's the left-hand side circle. Circle right, that means it's the right-hand side circle. And circle bottom, which would be the circle that is in front. So that's how you guys would be able to call it. The reason you say bottom is because the person's you're looking at it from the way you're visualizing it. So those are the proper callouts for the steps. If you learn to do these callouts correctly, you could just assign one person to be in charge of callouts, and it's going to make your life super easy. So first thing you want to do is make sure everybody knows how you're making the callouts and that they know their left and right and know which way to go without having any problem. Alright, so now that you understand the core mechanics of this encounter, it's going to make it more easy for me to explain what happens after you stun him twice. Once you stun him twice, there's going to be a portal that spawns in the middle circle, not in the back, but in the middle, that's going to lift you up to the part where we started the encounter, where the two little plates or the three little plates are on each side. Now, he is always going to spawn first on the tree side. So you're going to want to make sure you head over to the tree side, get your team situated, and you're going to have to deal with a bunch of ads. The ones that are mostly the pain are the ogres because they will get shielded. I would suggest if you're a hunter or any super that you're able to throw from distance and kill the ogres super fast, highly suggested, or snipe them to death and you should be good. pop in that well of radiance or get that shield from the Titan to block his incoming damage and start DPSing him. He will do one of the two kind of attacks that he does, either the breathing fire one or he will do the the little tentacle thing that he throws out at you. So you got to be prepared because these are all random. So you want to make sure someone is in charge of kind of provoking him to do his little tentacle, and you are ready in case he does his breath of fire with with a good shield or a radiance wall. As you guys see right there, we went from the regular fire one to the regular tentacle one. Now, what you have to be doing is you're going to want to assign every single person to one specific eye. Every time you stun him, he is going to show a set of 2 eyes. You're going to want to make sure you give one person 1 eye to shoot, and everybody's going to have to shoot 1 eye when we go to the final damage phase, which is the 3rd run. So right here, you guys are seeing this is going to be the 3rd run right here. This is where we're all going to be able to shoot one of his eyes. Now, like I said, please make sure you assign yourself which eye you're going to shoot. The way we did it, we split up in 2s. 2 people were in charge of the first cycle, 2 people were in charge of the second cycle, and 2 people were in charge of the 3rd cycle. That way, no one messes each other up. Everybody knows what eye to to be ready for. Here you guys have it. We did 3 phases. Now it's time for the DPS phase, and you're probably gonna wonder, is like, how come you guys are shooting him and his health is not going down? Well, this is where things get interesting because right now we're DPSing him. He is then gonna get upset that we're DPSing him, start closing the mouth, and this is when we gotta get ready to shoot our eyes. Now everybody shoots their eyes. If you guys don't shoot them at the same time, you will get wiped. So you have to coordinate with your teammates. Like, everybody get ready. We're gonna shoot the eyes, so you guys could get ready to go. Once he does that, once you're able to do that, everybody, you're going to divide yourselves back into the teams you were set up in the first time into 3s and head over to your plates. Once everybody's situated in your plates, you're going to drop down and you're going to notice that something changed from different. Now his arms have blisters on them. He's holding the hearts, but his arms have blisters. You're going to want to shoot as many of these blisters as you possibly can because this is what's going to damage him. Now, the only problem with shooting these blisters is that you have these little blight orbs coming at you, and if you get hit, you could probably die and mess up your team. But you want to shoot as many blisters as you can, so be ready, shoot the blisters, and be ready to shoot the little bolts that come at you so you guys won't get damaged. Once you do that, you guys will notice that we went from very little health to almost half health. You're able to 2-phase them if you do this properly. You're even able to 1-phase them if you have enough DPS. But right now, you're mostly going to be encountering a 2-phase round. What happens then is you will then go back into the rooms where you started from and do it all over again. I know, right? You're probably wondering, man, why do I have to do this all over again? It was so hard to begin with. But once you get the rhythm down, you will be able to know exactly what you're doing. I'm going to talk entirely through this phase run right here so you guys can get a better understanding of what's going on. So right now, I am clearing the scions that spawn on the top, or the snipers that spawn on the top. I believe we didn't get Raven this time around. The other team got Raven. We did end up getting the captain. So the other team, what we're waiting for right now, as you guys see, we're not shooting the captain. We're getting him only to 1 shot. And as soon as they tell us from the other side, yo, Laser, he's going over, then we will down the captain. As you see, the captain has gone down. Raven is here. We're going to get ready to DPS him. We're going to have 1 person in charge to shoot the eyes because all 3 of us don't need to be in charge because we could mess up. So 1 person will be in charge of the eye duty. My job is to DPS him. I'm not in charge of eye duty at the current moment. As you see right there, we were able to take out his eyes. He is stunned. He will then go revert back to the other team. Once they go up the lift, we are then going to proceed to pick up the orb. I'm going to do my call outs and let the person know to know which orb to go to. Of course, if you guys saw the video, you guys would know exactly the proper callouts to not confuse the player that you're playing with. As you see right there, proper callouts make this go fast and easy. He then again cleanses the symbol. We go backwards and we go up the lift to do it once again. Now you're able to kind of hear with the audio cue if Raven is on your side. If he is on your side, then what's going to happen is you are going to have to be quick with it. Luckily for us, this was the tentacles. The tentacles is actually pretty easy because you could get a lot of DPS in a little bit of shorter time. First thing you want to do when you go up to lift, kill the snipers and have the person that's ready to do the kind of mimic that for him to pop up his tentacle to go ahead and bring it down. We shoot his tentacle, his mouth will open up, his eyes will be exposed. We make the call out to the other team which of the eyes are glowing so they know which eyes to shoot to stun him, and we get ready for the night to spawn so we could do the symbol call out again. The thing you got to be closely paying attention to, of course, are these guys. These little snipers are a pain in the patootie because it really hurts. Even if you're high light level, they will still hurt you and even like 1 or 2 shots you, so make sure you guys are paying constant attention. Once again, our teammates over there stunned him. We get the ability to do the simple call out once again with the proper call outs. You'll see how fast this goes. Clear out the ads first. Super easy to go. Look how fast my teammate was able to get the symbol. He's then clearing out ads right there, and he gets it really quick. Knows where to go, where to actually get it completed, and bing bada bing, he did it. Now we go to the middle section and to do the ogre stage once again. Like I said, this is the time where you want to make sure you have your Radiance of Well, you also have your shield, and you also have the super to clear out ads because it's going to be very important and very crucial for you to be successful. Once you get up here, clear out the ads as much as you can, and to make sure you down the ogres, get ready for when he comes. Do not pop your well once you get in there unless you really have to. You want to make sure you're popping that well once he's coming in. Like I said, he will always teleport to the tree side, so you got to make sure you know exactly where that is. As you see right there, guys, I am running super duper low on ammo. I only have shotgun ammo and I only have sniper ammo. The biggest problem is if I shoot my sniper, then I am going to have the big issue where I won't have sniper to shoot the eyes, and that's going to penalize my team more than it is of me not shooting and DPSing, because the majority of people who I'm playing with actually are pretty high light level, except for one person that was not really high level, but majority of them are pretty high enough to do the DPS and stun them. So right now what I'm doing is just being as conservative as I can. My biggest priority is to stay alive and to have ammo for when the eye stage comes along, and to make sure that I'm constantly making callouts of where the ogres might be, and also look for ammo, because the biggest problem is you have to run out for ammo. If there's that and you die, you're going to put your team in a jeopardy. Survivability is going to be your number one priority. His eyes are then exposed, and we are going to get ready to do the stun face once again. This is my time to run out to pick up ammo, but look what happens here, guys. I run out there, I pick up ammo, and he pops up. Luckily for me, he did not kill me, and I was able to get back and get some more orbs to make sure I have my my super ready to go for when he does his ultimate last stun phase. So here we go, guys. I'm trying to survive as much as I can, trying to stay alive. No ammo, which totally sucks, but we're good to go. We're getting ready for the final phase. I'm ready to pop my well to protect my teammates from any coming danger. The majority of it is the ogres that spawn to the left and the right. We did have one person in charge of the ogres, so they wouldn't stun us. We're going to do as much DPS as we can, and we are going to get ready to go ahead and shoot his eyes. Here you go, guys. You shoot his eyes. He is stunned. Now, after you've done this twice and his health goes really low, you're going to notice that everybody's going to have to go into their into their little drop shoot again, and this is where we shoot the blisters. Luckily, if you have his health the way I have it right now, you guys should be able to get him to 10%. When he gets to 10%, that is when things become really interesting, because you will see what happens. So we shoot his blisters. Everybody's trying to get as many blisters as you possibly can. You see his health is going down. Once he hits 10%, though, that's where things get really hectic. Pulse rifles and auto rifles are pretty good. He hit the 10%, and as you guys see, guys, we got teleported back into a room that has a jumping puzzle. Now this, it gets a little bit chaotic because people start panicking and start running, because not only does it get chaotic of not knowing where to go, but it gets chaotic because you will start losing your health. If you have a warlock on your team, make sure he has a healing rift and that he also has the Radiance of Well, because this is going to allow you to restore your energy or your energy and your health, so you won't have to rush through this, and you make sure that you get across it. Now the cool thing about this one is only one person needs to get across it to teleport you, but you need to be able to to move along in case that person dies that's ahead of you. So don't just sit back and wait for someone to do it. try to get as far in as you can, just in case you need to kind of clutch it for your team and be ready to go. As you see, guys, our Radiant so well was popped, so our health could come back. We have one person that's really ahead of us. Well, not that much, not much ahead of us, but one pillar ahead of us. And he will make it across into the Blight. Once he makes it into the Blight that we're about to get to right there, which is jumping on that rock and another Blight, we will then get teleported. And this is where you guys got to pay attention, because as soon as you get teleported, you are going to have to put as much damage as you possibly can to knock that 10% health that he has. And once you knock that 10% health, you are going to have to make sure you are ready to jump inside his mouth. Yes, guys, you heard it correctly. You must jump inside his mouth and pull out your shotguns, pull out your grenades, because you have to DPS a Blight. If you don't knock the DPS Blight, if you do not DPS the Blight enough, when you go in his mouth, you are going to wipe and have to do this all over again. So have your shotgun ready, have your grenades ready, DPS as much as you can, destroy his inner Blight. Once you destroy his inner Blight, you will notice that you will get a key, and there you guys have it. You completed phase 1 of Raven. Now to the farm part where we have to carry his heart, and I will explain it and break that down to you guys super duper easy. Alright guys, now it's time for the heart, then carrying the heart. Now this is by far the easiest thing to do, but it is the most frustrating thing to do, because you have to coordinate and you have to rely on everybody. Everybody needs to do their part, or else this will not work. I'm going to explain the mechanics so when you see the video, you know exactly what's going on. There is going to be a little orb that spawns in front of his, in the inner side of wherever the area you're in right now, whatever you want to call it. That little orb is going to select one person to carry it. When that person picks it up, they will get a timer that has 18 to 15 seconds. Now this timer will start counting down, and once he picks it up, there's going to be a little bubble that gets created around this person. That little bubble looks like a Titan shield, just in a gray variant or a black variant. It's very, you could tell exactly what it is, kind of like a Taken version of it. But what's going to happen is the remaining 5 people who are not in charge of picking it up have to stay within that bubble, or else they will start getting damaged and darkness will start overtaking them. They have to remain inside that bubble for every single time as this person's running out. Now the person that's running out, that's carrying the orb, is going to have to start counting down his timer, because if that timer hits 0 and you are within the little bubble that he has trapped you in, then you will die. So what you need to do is, as soon as he gets to 3, 2, 1, back away a little bit and let him be by himself so he could get taken. Once his timer runs out, he will get taken into another realm. Now this realm will have a bunch of ads that he's going to need to kill, but in that realm there is going to be a Blight that spawns that will allow the second person that has to pick that orb, that got chosen to pick up that orb, to extend the timer. So the person number 2 that got chosen will then pick up the orb and keep going through the maze or the pathway to work their way out of the out of this encounter. As they are going out of the encounter, they're going to be relaying the timer to their teammates. Everybody else who does not have it is going to be in charge of clearing out ads. Any super that has the ability to clear out a massive amount of ads, kind of Stormcaller, anything like hammers, anything like that, you are definitely going to want to use and help the person that has the orb transgress to this. So once this person timer reaches 0, if the person outside on the other realm did not pick up the extra Blight, he is going to get teleported and he is going to need to go help and clear ads. Unfortunately, you are going to need to pick up the Blights, because you're going to want to extend the time and make sure you get to the final area. Because think about it, you have to go all the way from the part you're in all the way back to the vault, to the area to where you're going to be slamming. Now as you go and extend the timer, instead of 1 Blight appearing in the other realm, 2 Blights will appear. So you're going to have to coordinate who's picking up the Blights, because you could not pick up more than 2 Blights. So you're going to want to make sure, say I already got 2, make sure you pick up. For every time you extend the time, you will be getting more Blights. Once again, the persons who are still trapped in the Taken world will still need to keep going throughout the maze. If you follow this pathway that I am going, you guys will know exactly how to exit and how to get out of this area. Now it's going to come to the point where there's only going to be 1 to 2 persons that are going to be able to complete this and exit out. You're going to rely on the last person that gets taken to make sure they get it to the final area. Not only that, but you are also going to be relying on the people who are on the other realm to be able to extend your time. Once you guys are able to do that and coordinate that well, you're going to transgress through this area, which is going to last like between a total of 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes as you work your way out of this maze. You're going to be back to the vault. You're going to look at one of the sites that's open, because one of the 2 of the 3 sites will be closed. One side will be open. That could be rocks, forest, or steps, and you are going to want to make sure you go in through that area. You're going to go through that area, proceed through the cave side as you were to exit towards steps, and work your way out. Once you work your way out, you're going to look for a hole and drop on down, and that's going to take you down a lift, and you are going to see that there is a place where you're able to slam that orb. Slam that orb, and you guys have completed the raid. Hooray! Hooray! You guys did it. You guys should be proud of yourselves because you are among a few elite group that has completed the raid. After the raid has been completed, you will be presented with a bunch of chests that are going to be displayed to you. You're going to want to make sure you pick the correct one so you can get the loot that you want, or you're going to just have to wait and run the raid again until you get that most beloved weapon, the 1000, which is OP as heck. Now, I hope you guys found this guide helpful and informative. It took me a while to put this one together, but I knew this raid needed something like this, and I'm pretty sure that if you follow the instructions on this guide and you listen to what I say, you for 1%, 100% are going to be able to complete this raid once you are properly leveled. Remember, first 2 encounters 540, 3 and 4 550 or higher. Last encounter you're definitely going to want to be 560 so you guys are not hindering your team, and hopefully you guys, by this time you finish watching this video, you guys will know exactly how to do every encounter. If you guys would like to help me out and support this channel, please share this video with your friends, especially if you guys like to raid. Make sure everybody watches this video so they can know the proper callouts, know how to do each individual area of the raid, and not have any difficulty to explain it when they are doing the raid. And there you guys have it. That is how you complete the Last Wish raid. I will also have the ultimate guide once we get hard mode and we get prestige mode for this raid and any other raid that's coming out in the world of Destiny. Let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on this raid? Have you completed the raid? Or if not, what stage are you guys stuck in? If you guys would like me to shepherd people through this raid, I want to make sure, let's see if this video gets to 100 likes. If it does, we'll see if we set up a day where we're shepherding people through the raid. Don't forget, guys, for all things Destiny 2, make sure you guys keep it locked on this channel, and I will catch you guys on the next video.